Tethering through HTML5, IA Writer for iPhone, Quicken for Lion, iPad pre-orders sold out, iPad unlimited data plans for AT&T are here to stay, and an iTunes tip. It's Monday, March 12th, 2012, and this is iWake. I'm Tim Chatton, and this is what's going on in the Apple world today. Before beginning today's episode, I first wanted to encourage everyone to visit youtube.com/TCHATEN. That's T Chatton. My YouTube channel is filling up quickly with newly created videos on tips and tricks on Apple users, for Apple users, plus a video version of iWake that continues to improve as I learn Final Cut Pro X. More and more content is being put up on YouTube, and I'd love if you could check those videos out. Also, make sure to subscribe to my weekend podcast called iWake Again. This paid podcast is what funds iWake. Without your financial support with iWake Again, this podcast you are listening to or watching cannot exist. So please, if you have not subscribed yet, do so today. I'd imagine most of you have a spare $10 that you could put into good use by helping me make a career out of podcasting and help me continue this show for years and hopefully decades to come. With that, let's get on to the news for the day. To kick off today's episode is some general Apple news. To begin is some video-related news. First up, I just wanted to mention that Blu-rays and DVDs have included digital copies for a long time. And for those that have done this and used those, they're now showing up in the previously purchased tab and streamable on the Apple TV. So in iTunes, they're in the previously purchased tab, and on the Apple TV, they're streamable through your account. So if you redeem those digital copies, you now have access to them at any times through iTunes in the cloud. A much better system than Ultraviolet, if you ask me. And other video news is a report by Ars Technica that explains why the new 1080p content in iTunes is delivered with reasonable file sizes not that much bigger from 720p. The reason, according to the report, that 1080p versions of the content in iTunes stores are a good deal better without doubling the file size are in the tech specs for the new Apple TV and the third generation iPad 3. The Apple TV now supports H.264 compression for 920 by 1080 resolution. Video at 30 frames per second using higher main profile up to level 4. The iPad and the iPhone 4S the same up to the level 4.1. The profile indicates what kind of decompression algorithms the H.264 decoder has on board. The high profile obviously has some tricks up to its sleeve that the main and baseline profiles do not have. So that level of value indicates how many blocks or bits can be taken per device per second. So there you go. Basically, this high profile is what's doing this magic. Thanks to Mac Rumors for highlighting this Ars Technica report. Next up is news from Apple through emails that I actually received one myself that iWork.com is being shut down in July of this year. The iWork-only service has remained in beta since its launch in January of 2009. It appears it will end its life as a beta. The email from Apple is as follows. Dear iWork.com user, thanks for participating in iWork.com public beta. Last year, we launched iCloud, a service that stores your music, photos, documents, and more, and wirelessly pushes them to all your devices. Today, there are already 40 million documents stored on iCloud by millions of iWork customers. Learn more about iCloud. With the new way to share iWork documents between your devices using iCloud, the iWork.com public beta service will no longer be available. As of July 31st, 2012, you will no longer be available to access your documents on the iWork.com site or view them on the web. We recommend that you sign into iWork.com before July 31st, 2012 and download all your documents to your computer. For detailed instructions and how to save your documents on the computer, read this support article at apple.com. Sincerely, the iWork team. So there you go. iWork beta is going away. Make sure you back up your documents right now. Last up, in general Apple news, is more information about Apple's new corporate campus. We now know that the company is planning on building a cafe and a restaurant, a fitness center, and corporate auditorium with seating for up to 1,000 people on the grounds. 300,000 square feet of research facilities will be built nearby. There are tons of new illustrations mapping out their plans. You can view those for yourself at appleinsider.com, and it's linked to on the show notes over at iWakePodcast.com and in the enhanced version of this audio show found in iTunes. Now, onto some app news, and there's quite a bit of it. To begin is a new iOS tethering service from the folks that made the iTether app for iPhone. This existed for a brief moment. The new HTML5 app is done through a web browser, so there's no way Apple could block this, or none that I can see. I'm sure there is. Here are some remarks from the CEO, Tim Burke. It was clear from our initial application, iTether, there was enormous demand within the iOS ecosystem. It was unfortunate that Apple decided to remove our app only 20 hours after we launched. However, this caused us to innovate. Our underlying patent-pending technology behind Tether for iPhone is unlike anything on the market. Tether's new version for iPhone is purely HTML5 based and creates a completely wireless connection over ad hoc. This circumvents the need of buying the app directly from App Store and allows any iOS user with a data connection to tether. So this is awesome news and shows just what can be done with HTML5. I will be curious to see how well this works. I was unable to get the iTether app to work. I do own it, and it's quite frankly a terrible app that has never worked for me. So hopefully their HTML5 development team is better than their iOS development team. In other app news is the arrival of IA Writer for iPhone. IA Writer is simply a dead simple writing app for the iPhone, and it's also for iPad and Mac. That's where it first debuted. It's now for iPhone, and it's a universal app. The app helps you focus on text by including this keyboard extension, focus mode, and iCloud and Dropbox integration, so your files are always available on whatever Apple device you grab, whether it's a Mac, an iPhone, or an iPad. The app is not a new app, as I just said. It's a universal update to the old app, so no more, you don't have to pay twice for it, basically. The update also adds full screen view when typing and native AirPrint support. It's 50% off right now for the launch of the iPhone and priced at just 99 cents. If you want a good basic text editor, then give this app a look. The other big iOS update this week or today is Path. The latest 2.1 update includes Nike Plus GPS running stories. Basically, you're able to journal your runs, which sounds cool for those runners out there. Music match support, which lets you easily identify and share the music that's playing around you, even if you don't know the song. And I believe it integrates with Shazam to actually enable this. This is a feature I'd love to see Siri do. Just ask Siri, hey, what song's playing right now? And let it do it. So hopefully Apple takes a cue to this one. Focus and exposure was added. It lets you adjust the camera's focus and exposure points separately to help compose and more detail your photos out. And finally, it introduces POW, a new camera lens that creates a comic book effect, and this is for the iPhone 4S alone. A few other bugs and fixes and enhancements were added. Grab it now if you're a Path user. Now on to one big sale, I should say. It's worthy of mention. It's the Plants vs. Zombies HD. That is the iPad version. It's now $3, which is down from the old $7 price point. And I bought this one back when it was $10, and it was worth and still is worth every penny. A great app and a great price. Grab it while you can. Thanks to @PJA Schultz on Twitter for pointing this one out. The last bit of app news today is an update for Quicken 2007 for the Mac. Quicken has not received a major update since 2007, the year of the iPhone. And while Quicken is a pretty old app and, quite frankly, I think a terrible app that did require Rosetta to function, that is the PowerPC code, and before today did not run under Lion. According to Tidbits, the company has released Quicken Mac 2007 OS X Lion compatible, a version of that 5-year-old software that has been updated just enough to provide Lion compatibility. The update cost $15. Congrats Intuit for updating a mediocre app to Lion. It's an important one, but next time, spend the energy to create Quicken 2012, an app actually suited for this decade. Now, onto some iPad news. To begin, Apple has sold out of its initial stock of online iPad 3rd generation stock. For those that want one on launch day, you'll need to wait in line like everyone else. All iPad 3s are showing a March 19th shipped by day, which is the Monday following the iPad's release, so you'd probably receive it Wednesday of next week. or the week after Wednesday of next week. According to a company spokesperson at Apple, customer response to the new iPad has been off the charts, and the quantity available for pre-order has been purchased. Customers can continue to order online and receive an estimated delivery date. So there you go. Another successful demand, at least, for the new iPad. So as a result of this demand in the United States, it appears that international ship dates are slipping. The first sign of this is from a United Kingdom customer who received this email. Despite our best efforts and those of our shipping partners to get your order to you on time, we want to inform you that it will not arrive on its originally scheduled delivery date. Your new delivery date is March 20th, 2012. Once you receive your shipment notification, you can check the delivery status of your order by clicking the Track Shipment button on the Apple Store website. We regret the delay and apologize for this inconvenience. So there you go. United States gets priority treatment. Makes sense, but sorry, international folks out there. So with all of these new iPads selling, there are already reports as to how profitable the new iPad is for Apple. And these are going to be just guesses that these pundits are putting out there. But Engadget shares that the total cost of components for the 16GB 4G model is around $310, not including assembly and shipping and research and development. These reports come from the UBM Tech Insights, a research firm. With a final price of $629, Cupertino is pulling in about 51% profit, a sizable drop from the estimated 56% profit margin on the similarly spec'd iPad 2 at launch date. A large chunk of that increase was made possible, it increased because of the Retina display, which is estimated to cost around $70, and the LTE chipset, which is priced around $21. But who knows what Apple gets their cost down to with the mass quantities that they pull out. In contrast, current pricing to this panel, the Retina display panel, the regular display I should mention on the iPad 2, and its 3G radio is around $50, down from $70, and $10 are down from the $21. So there you go. Not as much of a profit center, but should keep Apple's wallets full all the less, or all the more. In other iPad 3 news is the ongoing debate of if AT&T will allow customers to migrate their unlimited data plans to the new iPad. For those that don't remember, AT&T offered a $30 unlimited plan for just a few weeks after the launch of the iPad 1. These plans were quickly changed to tier plan. This unlimited plan was heavily touted by Steve Jobs as something revolutionary and breakthrough, and really never saw the light of day. There are a select few people that still have these, including myself. The first story today claims that unlimited plans will not be transferable, but this is not the end of the story. At first, an email from AT&T claimed, if your new iPad is a 4G compatible device that is LTE, then you will need to pick up one of our current plans, so you would not be able to use your unlimited plan. A follow-up email redacts that, or, says it differently by saying, Dear Mr. X, I discussed the details of your case with a session-based prepaid data unlimited plan with an AT&T consumer data support specialist. This is the group that provides most customer service support functions for an account such as yours. This plan is compatible with the new 4G Apple iPad, recently introduced. Very simply, this plan supports the iPad, whatever version. In fact, I see that you've changed your equipment in the past from the original iPad to the iPad 2. If you have any questions about the compatibility of your present iPad unlimited plan with the new iPad, please respond to this email. And it goes on. So, good job, AT&T. This is very comforting to hear that my unlimited plan will continue on as long as I keep paying that $30. I was really afraid that I would have to cling to this iPad 2 for many more years to come. Meanwhile, AT&T has also confirmed that the company has no plans to throttle iPad users. I noted many months ago that AT&T has not yet throttled my iPad, even after going through months of 10 gigabytes worth of usage from video streaming. So yeah, great news on all fronts here. In other LTE news, and this is on the international front, is how it's not going to work with LTE internationally. According to Mac Rumors, the new iPad Wi-Fi plus 4G put up for pre-order in Europe yesterday supports the same 700 MHz and 2100 MHz LTE bands as the AT&T LTE version in the States. However, actual LTE rollout in Europe is expected to use 800, 1800, and 2600 bands. That means even if commercial LTE networks become more commonplace in Europe, which has for the most part remained not so much the case, where they are using HSPA Plus in Europe, the Apple tablet is likely to not be compatible with any kind of LTE rollout there in Europe. Apple notes, however, that iPads sold internationally will be able to connect to AT&T's LTE network as expected. I wanted to mention also before leaving this topic that, as I kind of hinted to before, that the new iPad supports dual HSPA Plus, which is kind of the standard for Europe with 4G. LTE is not going to be a big thing internationally, and Apple has included support for every kind of HSPA, including this dual band thing where you're able to get basically double HSPA Plus in layman's terms. So they have supported Europe, and this is not a story in my humble but accurate opinion. So last up in iPad news, it appears a line has actually started at the Regent Street store in London, England for this new iPad. So this is kind of crazy. Folks have a week to get out here. I don't say wait in a long line, at least long in the sense of time-wise. Go the night before and you'll be fine. Heck, go the same day, a few hours before it launches, and you'll probably get one. Apple's known to have great supply, at least in the States. I'm not sure if it's different in London, but wait it out. Don't go in line so soon. There you go. That's the end of iPad news. Now on to some iPhone news. To begin is iOS 5.1. And it appears that Apple's added a 3G toggle on and off for many people. If you guys remember before with the iPhone 4, you're actually able to turn Edge on and keep 3G off. This is useful if you have bad 3G area coverage where you're at, where Edge is more prevalent, and in that case, you'll actually get better cell phone coverage for voice calls and things like that. According to Mackerel, the reinstated toggle only appears for customers using 3G networks with their iPhones, and it doesn't appear at all for AT&T customers using this new 4G network. As it stands now, if your phone newly reports itself as a 4G network, you don't get a switch to turn it off, and that's what happens, basically. You only get the standard cellular data switch on or off. This is a crazy thing for Apple to limit. My phone is not 4G, no matter what you tell me, AT&T. 2 megabits down, 1 up is definitely not 4G. Let me switch to Edge as it uses less power and is very usable. Also note, Edge connections give you better voice experiences in many instances, so hopefully Apple rethinks this one. In other iPhone news is the iPhone in Japan and China. To begin is IDC's estimates of the iPhone grabbing 26.6% of all mobile phone shipments in the October through December 2011 quarter. Fujitsu and Toshiba claimed the second spot with 18.3% of shipments, and Sharp ranked third with 15.7%. Noticeably absent is Samsung. They're not in that list right now. Total mobile phone shipments in Japan climbed to 10.65 million units in the year ending the quarter. Apple launched the iPhone in Japan last October, and this is nothing too shocking, just cool to see. Regarding China, is a new carrier. China Telecom now has the iPhone 4S, and the carrier sold 200,000 phones in the week prior to its release. Not much more to say here, except competition is good to see, and now there is competition in China. Last up in iPhone news is more of an iOS story. I wanted to simply mention that Apple has created a page that showcases all of the security enhancements done in iOS 5.1. So if you're a security geek, dive on over to it. You can find the link by going to the show notes at iWakePodcast.com, or simply download the enhanced version of this audio show over in iTunes by searching for iWake, where I include links to every story I talk about right there in the audio file. Closing out the show today are a few, what I'm calling a few of the days. The first of the day is a jailbreak tweak of the day. The tweak aims to add camera connection support for the iPhone. The camera caching kit works with just the iPad, so there's no way to load up photos or use MIDI keyboards with your iPhone, which would be a nice thing for GarageBand and some other camera-related apps and things like that. This tweak is not yet available, but is currently in the works. You can follow the developer's progress over at iConnectionKit.blogspot.com, and I hope to see this jailbreak tweak make it out, and hopefully Apple adds
Last
it themselves
of the day is a
one
tip
day.
for
iTunes users. The tip is this: if you still sync iPods, there's a new option in iTunes 10.6 to convert higher bitrate songs not only to 128 kilobits, but also to 192 and 256. It is easy to enable. Simply click on 120 kilobits, and a pull-down menu will appear with your 3 options. This is a great tool for those that want to fit more music on an iPod. This tool was introduced back with the iPod Shuffle many years ago, and it's cool to see them add these new options. The 256 option is pretty nifty as well for those that use lossless formats in iTunes. Well, that's what's going on in the Apple world today. If you like this show, and I hope you do, head on over to iTunes and leave a review. Just search for iWake and you'll find it. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my weekend show called iWake Again. We're able to wake up again to iWake. It's over at iWakePodcast.com/again. Your support here is what makes this show, this daily show, go on. Subscribe over at iWakePodcast.com/again. Join me tomorrow for another edition of iWake. Aloha.